Hey guys, welcome back. In this particular video, we will be covering the second part of SSL implementation, that is two-way SSL or mutual authentication based SSL connections. So this is the carry forward part of one-way SSL. So just a request, if you have not have a view on this one-way SSL video which I have published already, I would request you to have a look on that because something will be connected from here and there. So it will be better to see the first part of it and then come over here. So assuming like we have a slight information about what SSL in one way behaved. So now we will be discussing about the two-way SSL. It's taking halfway from one-way SSL and then after that it will be starting its own processing or mechanism. Two-way SSL, as the name suggests, it will be two times or two-way. Either like in the one-way SSL, it's only the client need to validate the server public certificate, but here the server as well as the client both will try to validate their public certificate just in order to make sure those are the same party which they want to intend a secure connection. So how it starts? Let's see that we are having this as a client, and this is being marked as a server. We are having these two as the trust store, namely server trust store on the server side, and the client trust store on the client side. The nature of both of these trust store are just opposite. Server trust store is being used to validate the client public certificate, whereas client trust store is used to validate the server public certificate. Client key stores and server key stores are namely being used to keep all the public certificate as well as the private keys over there in both the cases. Okay. So having said that, let's see how the interaction gets started. So first of all, the client starts with a request to access the protected resources by sending a request over secured HTTPS connection. Server shares back the server public certificate along with the hello message. Client takes up that server public certificate and it validates using the client trust store. Based on the positive validation, client shares a symmetric session key which is encrypted using the server public key and it is being sent back to server. Now the server will decrypt this encrypted symmetric session key using the private server key which is being maintained in the server key store. Based on the successful decryption of the same, server will send a encrypted session key again along with the request for client public certificate. Client, in response to that, it will share its client public certificate back to server. Server will try to validate the client public certificate using the server trust store, which is being validated using CA authority as well. After this eighth step, the ninth step is server sends back a encrypted session key back to client and client decrypts that particular session key using its private key which is being maintained in the client key store. In this way, both the sides of server and the client have validated their public certificates and they have encrypted using their public keys and decrypted the same using their private keys from their respective key stores. So this was the flow of two-way SSL in which the validation was not only from one particular side, it was being validated from both the sides of the interacting parties, that is from the server as well as the client. So in order to realize this thing, there are certain settings which we need to perform. Half of the things will remain exactly same what we have in one-way SSL, and the remaining will be adding up for this particular flows which are being additionally added now as part of second level of validation. So Again, this is starting with the assumption you are having a Java version deployed on your machine. In order to check the version, what you can do, you can just do open a terminal and do a Java hyphen version. It should revert back with some version out of it, so you are good. Just create a folder. So I'm going to create one more folder inside this parent directory mkdir Two-Way Ssl, and I will do cd inside it. And now I am going to uh, run all these commands so that we can correlate these steps along with the actual flow which we have just explained. I'll clear up the terminal so that we can have a better view. So the first thing is to generate the server key store. So key tool and hyphen gen key hyphen alias, then the alias name, it could be anything, but just to keep a uniformity I am using MuleSoft hyphen server hyphen, then the key size 2048. You can use any different key size as well depending on your use case. Then key algo, I am using RSA. Key store, it will be the name of your server key store. I'm using the JKS format. So just to cross check, key tool hyphen gen key hyphen alias MuleSoft server, then key size, then key algo name hyphen key store server key store dot jks. Let's hit enter. Putting the password as same as MuleSoft. Again the same. I will put something like this. Okay. You can fill the rest of the things accordingly. Same password you need to enter again. So now this is being created. Let's do ls just to cross check. We have a server key store now enabled. Now the next step is to extract the public certificate out of the server key store. So how to do that? We have to use the export command. Key tool hyphen export. You have to specify the alias of this public certificate. So MuleSoft hyphen server, because we are doing all the things on the server side, so that's why it's better to use the according name. Then the key store, that is the server key store.jks, then hyphen file, and it will be saved as server hyphen public.crt. Just to cross check again, I am not missing out anything. Key tool hyphen export hyphen alias MuleSoft server hyphen key store, then the key store name, file server public.crt. Key store, server key store is the same which we have generated in the above step. Let's hit enter and put the same password, maybe MuleSoft, and do a ls. So now I can see the public certificate is also there along with the key store. The next thing is to put this public certificate, server public certificate, into the client trust store. So how to do that? It's import command again, key tool hyphen import hyphen alias MuleSoft hyphen client hyphen public hyphen key store client hyphen trust store dot jks hyphen file server hyphen public.crt. Let's cross check it again. Key tool hyphen import hyphen alias, then the alias name, then the key store, then the client truststore.jks, then the file server public crt. Let's hit enter. Putting the same password just to maintain the uniformity. I expect this particular thing. Let's do ls quickly. So now we are having client trust store, we are having server key store, we are having server public CRT. Next thing is to generate the client key store. So to do that, key tool hyphen gen key hyphen alias MuleSoft hyphen client hyphen key size 2048 hyphen key algo, that is RSA, then hyphen key store, then client hyphen key store dot jks. Let's quickly cross check. Key tool hyphen gen key hyphen alias hyphen then MuleSoft client hyphen key size 2048 key algo RSA key store client store key store.jks. Everything looks good. Hits enter. Putting the password just to maintain the uniformity. Putting the same password. You can use different one as well, but just remember whatever you are putting in. Localhost AI. You can put any details like this. So this is done. Let's do ls quickly, and we are having one more. Client key store is generated. Now we will export the public certificate out of client key store. So same command is there, key tool hyphen export hyphen alias MuleSoft hyphen client hyphen key store, then client key store .jks hyphen file client hyphen public .crt. So quickly cross-checking the thing, key tool hyphen export hyphen alias MuleSoft client key store jks file, then client public crt, hit enter. So let's do ls quickly. So 5 entries now, 5 steps, and the last one is to import the client public certificate into the server keys server trust store. So key tool hyphen import hyphen alias MuleSoft hyphen server hyphen public hyphen key store server hyphen trust store dot jks hyphen file client hyphen public dot crt. Let's quickly cross check. Key tool import alias MuleSoft server public key store server trust store jks file client public crt. So pretty much the same. Hit enter. Hit enter. Yes. Do ls just to cross check. So these are the entries available. Again, just to brief again, we need to generate server key store and the client key store. Again, then public certificate from this server key store, public certificate from this client key store, and import server public certificate from the client trust store, and reverse client public certificate into server trust store. So this is what we have achieved here as well, writing all the commands. Let's try to create one more project in the similar way we have created for one-way SSL. Let's close all the projects. I will create a new Mule project, maybe Two-Way Ssl. Hit enter. Let's quickly grab a listener, put a payload, and put a logger as well. Within the listener, let's set up the HTTPS https server 8082 since https, go for TLS. Before going for TLS, I forgot to copy paste the content. So what I will do, I will quickly go to the SSL folder. I will go to Two-Way Ssl. I will copy paste all these things and will place it over here. Now let's try to configure this listener configuration. Go to TLS, edit inline. Now, as you have observed over here, uh, on the server side of it, we are having trust store as well as the key store. So we will configure the same. Okay. So the trust store, it will be the client trust store. Okay. Sorry, the server trust store. So up the server side of the path. So it asks for the server trust store. So what I will do, I will put server hyphen trust store.jks just to make sure I am putting the correct spellings. Okay, MuleSoft type is jks. Algo is not required. In the key store, put accordingly. Select the jks. Path will be the server key store dot jks. Alias server key store jks. I need to go back to my notes. Server key store MuleSoft server. Password was MuleSoft. Password was the MuleSoft. Algo is not required. Click on OK. That's pretty much of it. Go back over here and put a path, maybe Two-Way Ssl. In the payload, you can put tested Two-Way Ssl. In the logger, just maintain the payload. That should be okay. Rename this flow with ending with server just to make sure this is the server path. Similarly, we are going to create one more flow and we will rename it as client. Okay, in the listener, listener will be plain HTTP. So what I'm going to do, I'm just putting client in the end. That's okay. I will get the path as test. Perfectly fine. Now it goes for the request. I will be setting up this request in sync with this listener. Click on this plus sign for the configuration. It will be an HTTPS request from client, spelling client. It's a HTTPS and this is localhost. This is 8082. TLS, we need to set it edit inline. It will open up all the things. So let's set up for the client. It is asking for the client trust to. Client trust store.jks. Password is MuleSoft. Type is jks. Type for key store is again jks. You can choose any of these three, but to make sure you are saving the key store or trust store accordingly. In the path for the key store, put client hyphen, just make sure you are not committing any spelling mistake. Client hyphen key store dot jks. Alias for client key store, I need to go back for client key store, that is MuleSoft hyphen client. Password MuleSoft. Again, the password is MuleSoft. Let's pretty much click on OK. And in the path give Two-Way Ssl. So that's pretty much what we need to set up. Hit the run button, click on yes, go back to your okay, this is being set. Let's see what I have set in the listener client. It is test only. Pretty much good to go ahead. I will wait for this application to set in the deployed state. Then I will hit from Postman. It is showing me like it is being deployed. Let's hit from the so tested two-way SSL, tested two-way SSL, that is, it has gone right from here to here and finally printing the set payload and coming out of this logger. So this was pretty much about the two-way SSL configuration which we can perform in Mule 4.